A lifetime of learning indeed. There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Joy. Hello, Deep Blue. Hello, Ornella. If you have questions about English, ask me your questions. If not, then I might pull up my book and talk about things from my book. Except I need to find my book again. There it is. Hello, Eve. You have a question today? Okay, what's your question? Joy, you're leaving us already. Why? Joy, stick around. We're just getting started. Okay, here's Ornella's question. What do you and American people think when you listen to foreign people speaking the British version of your language in the U.S.? You mean, what do we think of people from another country like Italy who speak English but they have a British accent? Is that what you mean? In the US? Like somebody came from Italy, but they speak English with a British accent and they're in the US? Is that what you mean? Hello, Maria. Good to see you again. Ah, I don't think most people probably won't really think anything of it. We might make a silly joke about it, or we might notice it, but I don't think anyone will really care. You might meet a few people who really actually don't know the difference, right? And so when you say it, they might be confused. There are some Americans who are not familiar with British English at all. So, but here's what I would say though. Both versions of the language have been popularized so much in TV and movies that it's most of us know that flat means apartment, and that lift means elevator, and that boot means trunk, and that holiday means vacation, and most of us know these things because of TV and movies. you know. We've seen lots of Hugh Grant movies. I think you might get a little bit of ribbing. Do you know what ribbing is, Ornella? People might rib you a little bit. Ribbing is like ribbing is when like your uncle comes up to you at your birthday party and he comes up and pokes you right here in the ribs and you go like this and laugh, because it's ticklish, right? They poke you in the ribs. That's ribbing. But ribbing also means to make a joke about you, like you're poking at you to make you laugh. So if you say, I can't come to the party because I'll be on holiday, someone might make a joke and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, are you going to visit the Queen?" They might mock you a little bit, yeah, to rib you a little bit. They might make a sarcastic comment about it. Yeah, like teasing. Yeah, to rib you a little bit. Ribbing. So, I don't think anyone will really care, but you might get a little bit of flack. That means ribbing. Yeah, I think only a few people might be confused. I think most people would probably figure it out, you know, um, or understand. Uh, Asen is saying there was a movie named Mockingbird. You mean To Kill a Mockingbird? It's actually a book first, and then it was made into a movie. Or do you mean the modern, what is that, Mockingjay movie? Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird. Very famous book and great movie too. So again, if you have questions about English, then ask me your questions. Hello, Flavia. Sometimes I speak fluently and clearly, but other times I can't even remember the simplest words while talking. How can I deal with this? Rana, um, Rana, I'm going to say you can't really deal with that. That's what we call you have some good days and you have bad days, right? So here's what I will tell you. For example, as a musician, uh, even a professional musician has occasional days when you feel like you just can't play. I'm speaking from experience. Okay, I'm a drummer as well as a teacher. And there are some days when you go to practice and you just feel like your body won't do what you want it to do. And you can do it every other day, but for some reason that day just doesn't feel right. Now, the more you play and the more experience you get, the fewer you have those days. The fewer days of those you have, right? Fewer of those days you have. God, my words are all backwards today. The fewer of those days you will have. Okay, the longer you play, the more the more experience you get, the fewer of those days you will have. But it's natural to have good days and bad days because there are two parts to language, just like there are two parts to music. There is the artistic part of it, and then there is the technical part of it, the mechanical part of it, right? And you can work on the mechanical, scientific, technical part of it a lot, and work on the grammar and work on the sentence structure and work on your intonation and your accent and your pronunciation and all of those things. That's the technical part of it. But no matter how much you work on those things, the practice of doing it, actual speaking and writing, that's an art. And because it's an art, that means that there will be some good days and bad days. Okay? So, even at the highest level, you still have those days. But what happens is, fortunately, the better you get, the more you do it, the more experience you get, your bad days are noticeable to you, but not many other people. Meaning that you might think your language is not good, but nobody else cares, and nobody else even notices. And this is also something to keep in mind. Sometimes you are worried about your mistakes, but sometimes the mistakes you are worried about, no one ever even noticed except you. So it's okay, notice it, pay attention to it to work on it, but don't worry about it because no one else noticed it. Right? So sometimes I play a performance and maybe I make a mistake in the middle of the song. But guess what? I know I made a mistake, but no one else does. So should I work on it? Yeah. But should I worry about it? No. Okay? Does that make sense, Rana? So I think you have to keep doing it. The more you do it, the more consistent you get. And the more likely that you won't have these days as much. I won't say they'll ever, completely go away. They won't you can't get rid of those days. I think everybody still has that, no matter how good you get. Okay? Okay, if you have questions, then raise your hand or type your question in the chat. And I will bring you up in just a few moments. You're welcome, Rana. The thing that I do best as a teacher is concepts. I've always been that way. Oh, hello, Flavia. You had a test today. You got 26 out of 35 questions right. What kind of test? An English test, I assume? 26 out of 35 isn't too terrible. What kind of a test was it, Flavia? So, again, if you have questions, type your question and I will answer it. Hello, everyone. Let's see who's here. Hello, Peter and Hero and Gwen. Hello, Sammy and Asha and Jackson. Good to see you again. Hello, Amy and Nala. Hello, Walter and Jessere. And Ronald, Mike, hello, Mike. Good to see you, man. Um, Uncanny, hello. Hello, Talk user 268885. That's I always like when they have names like that. One day that will be the way everyone is named, like a serial number. Hello, Ornella and Rana and Emin and Legit Boy. Hello, hello, Lee and Marco. Dina, hello. Millie, Maggie, hello. Raj and Ken, hello. No and Crystal and Nikki. Varuna, hello. Coco, Casey, Gisela, Sayonara, Estefania, hello. Eric, Valerie, Laura, Sonia, and Sahar, hello. What's up? So again, if you have questions about English, you should type your question and I will try to answer it. Okay? I will try to bring some people up, but I need most of the questions to happen in the chat because it's faster that way. Okay? It's faster that way. Well, Sammy's raising his hand. I didn't notice that. Sammy, are you still there? Do you have a question, Sammy?
Hi, teacher.
Hello, Sammy. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, good to see you.
How about you, sir?
I'm pretty
Thank
good.
you.
I'm pretty good. You're in Pakistan where? Are you in Lahore or where? Karachi?
I'm in Peshawar.
Peshawar. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
You know
And
about Peshawar?
I know a little bit, yeah. I have followers all over, so I have lots of followers in Peshawar.
Yeah. You're famous, sir.
No, not
You know that.
famous. Just on Hello Talk.
You're a good teacher, this guy, sir.
Well, Sammy, what can I do for you today?
Finally, I got on stage, sir.
I'm sorry?
Finally, I got on stage. I wanted to talk to you, but sometime I apply for the stage, and then we have a different time, so that's why.
Yeah. Well, sometimes there are many people in line, and I can't talk to everyone, unfortunately. But so, what can I do for you today, Sammy?
Well, actually, just talk to me for a while, then I will go down, and maybe the other person will come.
Well, it would be better if you have a question, because if I
Yeah,
just
I have a
talk to
question,
you, that
sir.
only helps you. But if you have a question, that might help everyone.
Yeah. So my question is for you. I asked you last time, how do I improve my writing? I can speak a little bit English, but if I'm writing something, so then I forgot the alphabet, the synonyms.
So you said, okay, how can you improve your writing? Let's talk about
Yes.
what's wrong with your writing more. Tell me more about what's wrong with your writing.
It's sometimes I'm just confusing and vowel sounding. Let's talk about if I say air, here, I'm just forgetting how to write it, A, E, O, in this
The
case.
spelling, you mean? Just remembering the spelling.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, spelling is really something that. One thing that will help with spelling is practicing your phonics more. Okay? That's how most of us do spelling. But the problem with phonics and English words don't all follow the rules of phonics because English words come from many different languages. So the rules of phonics apply to specifically English words, but many words in English are not from English. So they don't follow the same rules. For example, the word cafe, right? The word cafe is a French word. That's why we pronounce it that way, right? But it's spelled
Mm-hmm.
C-A-F-E, right? If that were following English rules of pronunciation, it would be pronounced cafe. But
Okay. Yeah.
because it's a French word, we pronounce it cafe, right? So that's one problem with phonics, is that phonics doesn't always work because of the pronunciation problems that come up. But um, but phonics is a good place to start. All right. So what that means is every day you should try to choose some words and just practice saying them. Let me see if I can give you some. Hold on, let me find a list here. Wait a minute. Let me make
Okay,
it
sir.
a new list, new chat. Okay. One moment. Use multi-syllabic. I'm creating a prompt right now on ChatGPT to help us here. Create a list of English words for phonics, spelling, pronunciation practice. Use multi-syllabic words and break them apart into their syllabic components for easier pronunciation spelling. Good. Let's see what happens. Let me bring this up. Okay, here is a list of multi-syllabic English words broken into syllables for phonics, spelling, and pronunciation practice. These words are great for helping learners recognize syllable patterns, vowel sounds, and consonant blends. So, take a look at these simple two-syllable words, right? So, when you see this word, you should think baby, 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 right? Now, the spelling of that, you're right, you have options there. It could be B-A-B-E, B-A-B-E-E, B-A-B-Y, B-A-B-I-E. All of those could possibly sound like that. Okay? Table, table, table. So this is how most people learn how to spell through phonics, by pronouncing the words and hearing them in your mind and then knowing what those sounds are supposed to be written like, right? Window, window, right? Picture, picture, right? So again, this is a good way to start practicing this. Animal, family, right? Beautiful, celebrate. It's a good way to see how the words are broken apart so that you can pronounce them properly, and how, if you pronounce them properly, then you might be able to spell them more easily. Okay? So this is a good way to start practicing like that. Okay? Responsibility, responsibility. University, individual, misunderstanding, right? And again, all I did, I typed in this. Create a list of English words for phonics, spelling, pronunciation, practice. Okay? If you want, let me see if I can do this. I'll put the prompt here. You guys can copy it and paste it and use that. Oh, it didn't finish everything, but it's a little too big. you need to finish it with this. So, Slavic components for easier pronunciation and spelling. That's the prompt that I just used. Okay? Sami, I hope that helps.
Yeah, it helps, sir, and I like this way. I will try to learn by this way.
Yeah, it works most of the time. But then, like I said, some of the time, some English words, the way that they are spelled does not look like what they sound like. So it can be confusing. There are some words that are
Yeah.
like for example, there's a word, ennui. Ennui is another French word, and it's spelled Ennui. Ennui. It's very weird
What does it
spelling.
mean, sir?
Uh,
Ask me word for me.
it's a word. It's a feeling to have ennui. Oh God, my throat. I can't clear my throat today. Um, so to have ennui is to kind of be bored. It's like a feeling of boredom, right? A feeling of this is really boring and tedious, and I don't like to do this, and I'm feeling kind of uh, low energy, bored. That's to have ennui. Okay?
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
It's
sir.
kind of like sadness and boredom and put together. It's ennui.
Oh,
Okay?
okay, I got it.
Yeah. But it's a weird word because, again, Ennui, no one could guess how that's spelled by listening to it. You know, if you hear it, you would think it's spelled Onwee, ennui. But no. Anyway, that's a good place to start, though, is just with phonics pronunciation practice. So you can use ChatGPT or some AI to help you to find words to break apart like that. Okay?
Okay, I was about to start, but I didn't know the exact way how to do it. But now I got it. Thank you, sir. I
You're welcome.
appreciate.
No problem. I hope that works for you. So, Sammy, I'm going
Thank
to
you,
let you
sir.
go and talk to somebody else, but have a good day, the
Okay,
rest
why
of your
not, sir?
day, and
Okay, okay. Thank you.
you're
Thank you for
welcome.
having me.
Take care, my friend. I'll see you
Okay,
next time.
okay. Bye, bye.
Okay. Hello, Miguel. Good to see you again, my friend. How are you? Is everything sounding okay still, Miguel? Since I've had all these difficulties, I don't know if everything still sounds okay. It was an English test. Okay. And how do you feel about that, Flavia? Did you feel good about your 26 or not good about your 26? And what do you feel you did poorly? Hello, Carolina. How are you? So once again, if you have a question, type it in the chat and I will answer it. Questions about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, reading, writing, listening, speaking, whatever. Ask me your questions and I will try to help you. Oh, I'm sorry, Ornella. I did see that. I forgot to reply. Examples of strange, funny, I always hate that word. Onomatopoeic words. Sure. You know, uh, most of those words are actually pretty popular because they are used in comic books a lot, right? Bam, slam, bop, pow, right? Those are all onomatopoeic words. Um, but let's see. One moment. Okay, Fatima wants to know how can I improve my reading. So I'm making a list of your words, Ornella, and we'll talk about them here in a second. Um, so how can you improve your reading? Well, the most obvious thing to say is you should read more, but you should also be aware of the level of your reading. Whatever your level is, you should read above your level, right? So not too far above, but one step above your level. That's where you should be reading so that you're pushing yourself forward. If you're reading children's books, then you're not going to be advancing your language. You need to be reading something that's above your level, right? So that's one. Two, I would say you need to vary your reading. To vary, make it different, meaning read books, read short stories, read articles, read newspapers, read restaurant reviews, movie reviews, TV reviews, read poetry, read different kinds of things. Read a scientific article, right? A scientific journal. Read a letter from someone, right? Read different things. That's the other thing I would say. To improve your reading, you should do two things. One, read above your level, and two, vary your reading materials. Okay? Let's look at this list of funny onomatopoeic words, which onomatopoeia means words that sound like what they are. Okay, so for example, so these are funny English words that sound like what they are, and these are called onomatopoeia. Kerplunk. Kerplunk is the sound that we use when you throw something into the water, right? Like if you throw a rock off the bridge into the water, then when it goes into the water, it goes kerplunk, kerplunk. Okay? Boing. Boing is the sound you make when some kind of a spring breaks or something, right? So when you bounce on your bed, the springs go boing, 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 boing. Okay? To blubber. Blubber is the sound of crying. So stop your blubbering means stop your crying, right? Like blah, 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 when you're crying and you sound like blah, 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 blubber. Okay, you're blubbering. Gah! That's the sound you make when you feel surprised or shocked or something, right? Gah! G-A-H. Gah! Okay? This one I've never seen before, splort. But I mean, I understand it, but I've never seen it before. Snort is the sound you make like this. That's a snort. Okay. Zowie. Zowie is like wow. Arf, arf, or bark. Arf and bark. Those are both dog sounds, right? Glug, 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 glug means you're pouring something, right? Glug, 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 glug. Okay, so these are all onomatopoeia. Whoosh, a fast air movement. He came by with a whoosh. Yowza. Yowza, look at that cake. Yowza means like, wow, impressive, amazing. Yowza. Ka-ching. Ka-ching is the sound we make when we make money, right? So if you send me some money, then I'll say ka-ching. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. This one is funny. This word ribbit. So here's the funny thing about onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is cultural. So every language has different ways to do the rabbit's the frog sound. Right? If you go to Korea, they have one way of doing an onomatopoeia for frogs. If you go to Japan, they have a different way. If you go to China, they have a different way. If you go to Germany, they have a different way. So onomatopoeia is actually cultural. It's kind of funny. Okay, so there's your onomatopoeia words. Ornella. All right, let me go back to some questions here. Be patient. If you have no patience, then I have no answers for you. Okay, let me go to the next question here. And the next question was, how many times do you need to practice for you to be fluent? Laura, are you still there, Laura? Laura, do you like music, Laura? So, Laura, how many times do you need to practice piano to be good at piano? Does a pianist ever think that they've practiced enough? That's the better question. Does a pianist ever finish practicing? Musicians never finish practicing. So, Laura, Yo-Yo Ma. Yo-Yo Ma is the most famous cellist in the world. He's the greatest cellist in the world. Okay, he plays the cello. But every day he wakes up and he still practices and tries to be better. So, Laura, my answer to you is two things. One, the word fluent doesn't really mean anything. It's not a good word because it's not well defined. Okay, how many words do you need to be fluent? Is it 20,221 words or 20,222 words? And which 20,222 words? Because you might know different words than I know. So is your fluency the same as my fluency? And does grammar matter in fluency? Does your grammar have to be perfect for you to be fluent? What about your accent? Does that have to do with fluency? So fluent is such a terrible word because you can't achieve it because you can't define it. Right? If you can't define it, you can't achieve it. All right? But I know what you mean. What you mean is, when can I feel comfortable with my language? Okay? You're never finished. You're never finished. But a musician feels good about music when they can play and make music comfortably. Right? So when I started playing the drums, I wasn't comfortable. It was too new. The movements were new. I had no experience, so I wasn't comfortable. But the more you play, the more you become comfortable playing the music, right? The same thing is true with language. There will come a point where you will feel more comfortable. That's the fluency that you're trying to achieve, okay? But I want you to remember that comfortability doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you're finished learning. It doesn't mean you've stopped. Okay? It just means that you've reached a point where now you can use the things that you've learned to create language. Just like when you learn music, you learn you use the things you learn to make music, right? Language and music are very much the same. All right? So here's what I will say, Laura, is everybody learns language differently. There are some people who can learn language extremely quickly. And there are some people that it takes a bit longer. It depends on so many things. Your experience, your knowledge, your ability, your background, the language you're trying to learn. You know, there's so many things that are involved, okay? But what I want you to do is I want you to become comfortable with the language. Now, there is a secret to becoming comfortable. The secret to becoming comfortable is using it enough to feel comfortable. But you have to use it in 5 different ways. You have to feel comfortable using language in 5 ways to be fluent. Okay? To feel comfortable. You have to be comfortable writing it, reading it, listening to it, speaking it, and thinking it. Okay? And All of these need to be practiced, but some of these are easier to practice than others, right? Speaking practice is hard to do because you don't have many opportunities. But you can do reading, you can do listening, you can do writing anytime. And you can do thinking anytime. And thinking is the most important practice you can do. Thinking practice is the most important thing to becoming comfortable. Okay? Because if you're not comfortable with the words up here, you're never going to be comfortable when you speak. So the first thing you need to do is be able to play with the language in your mind comfortably. Can you think in your daily life in English? Okay? So, Laura, there is no end to learning. There is no point that, I can't tell you it'll be 3 months. I can't tell you it'll be 6 months. It's different for everybody. But I want you to have the right goal. And the goal that you should be trying to achieve is to feel comfortable with the language. And to be comfortable, you have to use it in your mind enough to feel comfortable there. Okay? All right, let me go to some other questions. Please be patient. You've been listening to English for almost a year, but I don't feel much improvement. Cassie, okay. Well, what are you listening to, Cassie, besides me? What are you listening to in English? Rutfella, I've been here. I've just, I have a life. I'm busy. I have things to do, and I want to make this a priority, but I can't always. Okay? Some words, if I can't read it and I didn't know if I read it correctly. Fatima, that's what the internet is for. That's what the internet is for, 1. Or 2, Fatima, here's another solution to your problem. Get audiobooks or use sources to read that have an audio component. All right? So, for example, ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT to write a story for you, then you can click the read button. Okay? Or you can go to this website, eslfast.com. Go to that website. It's a website for reading practice, and they have lots of short stories, about 2,000 short stories. And they also have a recording so that you can hear the pronunciation of everything. All right? But any word that you don't know how to pronounce, you do the same thing that I did when I was a child. You either ask someone or you look it up online. Okay? Go to eslfast.com if you want to do some more reading practice. All right? Okay, let's see. Next question. How's my friend Clay? He's okay. I'm very thankful to Clay because he lent me his mixer. My mixer broke for some unknown reason, and that's why I had to stop. I had a few days I wasn't online because I had equipment problems, but he lent me his mixer, which is the same as mine. I recommended he buy one, and he had one, so he lent me his. And so that's why I'm able to be up again. I'm hoping to get him over here to do a stream or to go do something out in, maybe do a field trip stream together with him sometime. Okay? Jandis says, can I explain the meaning of clever? Right. So clever, Jandis, is it's a way to say someone is smart, but someone is smart in a unique or quick or innovative way. All right? So a clever person is not just smart. They're witty, they're quick, they're unique, and they're innovative in the way they use their intelligence. Okay? So if you are smart and you're able to use your intelligence very creatively to do interesting things, then someone might say he's very clever. Right? So for example, if you give a classroom, the same puzzle problem to solve, right? And that puzzle has 10 possible ways to solve it, and 3 of the ways are very obvious, and one of the ways is very not easy to see, right? Not easy to find or to solve. Most of the class is going to find the answer with those 3 most common solutions, but there will be somebody who finds a different way that's clever. Okay, so if you find a solution to a problem that somebody else didn't think of, clever. Okay? I speak better in my mind than with my mouth, but now I feel a little bit better. But that's the way it will always be. Of course, that's the nature of how it is. You always think you're better than you really are when you do it. But that's good. Guys, guess what? Did you know that your imagination is a very important part of evolution? The ability to imagine things before you do them is very useful to something that wants to stay alive. So our ability to imagine things, to play with ideas in our mind, is a very special thing. And the way we do it with language is extremely special. If you don't understand how crazy it is that we associate sounds with pictures in our minds through multiple different languages, many different languages, we're able to assimilate the concepts of the reality into sound, which projects into our mind. That is a phenomenal thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you take it for granted that you're able to imagine things. You don't use your imagination enough, and you don't understand the power of your imagination. Your imagination is it's a practice room for life. Your imagination is a practice room for life. You can imagine things in your mind and play them out, just like you can imagine language. Okay? No, I don't think there's any problem with the connection. Eric says, sometimes I feel like I can speak English, then I go to a voice room where people speak very fast and I don't understand them. Can I speak English? Eric, you can speak English. Your English is fine. But, guys, if you go to a room with natives who are speaking with natives and they're talking about a native topic, of course you're going to be lost. You're swimming in waters you can't handle. Swim in the right water. It's that simple, okay? If you can swim, that's great. But if you dive into deep, dangerous, fast-running water with a lot of rocks, no matter how good you are, you're probably going to fail. So stop going to places like some room where there are 10 people speaking with a lot of slang and they're using a lot of weird pronunciations and accents and incorrect grammar. Okay? Have the right goal. When you learn a language, guys, have the right goal. The goal of learning a language should be to gain an ability to use that language practically. But guess what? A lot of the language that is used in daily life by some of these people is actually not practical language. It's colloquial language, which means it's good in some places but not in every place. And they know that. They know that there are some places they go where if they speak the way they are, no one will understand them. So you're throwing yourself into a room where people are talking in a way that no, you don't understand. But you're in the wrong room. You're in the wrong room. Don't just go to any room. Okay? Try to go to some place that's useful to you. Try to go to some place where people are speaking useful language. Okay? Because, what's up, cuz? That's so on fleek. That's not useful language. It's not. Unless you want to talk to 12-year-olds. It's not useful language. Learn to speak properly, and you can speak to everyone. But if you listen to people who aren't, of course you don't understand. Okay? All right. Let's see. Saad. Hello, Saad. There are a lot of people here, Saad. There are 78 people here, not just you. Okay? All right. So this is a classroom. I am a teacher, a real teacher. So you should act like you're in a classroom. Be patient. Wait your turn. Have a good question. Okay? Have a good question. You didn't ask me anything yet that I saw. Ask me something. Okay? And that's the other thing I was going to say, Renato. Saad, bro is not a word you should use in English very much. Okay? Don't say bro. I'm not your bro. I'm your teacher. Sir would be a more appropriate word. But still, you don't need to call me sir either. It would be better if you just say, excuse me. You don't need to say sir or bro. You just need to just speak. Don't use those extra words. Why? Don't use them. Now, Saad, I know in India, in Hindi, they use the word bro all the time, right? Brai, I think it is. They use that all the time. It works in India, culturally, but it's not the same here. So don't use the word bro all the time, all right? But again, please, Saad, understand that there are lots of people here. Okay, not just you. All right, I'm waiting for your question. What's your question? How can I speak in good English? Saad, that's not a good question. A long time ago, Saad, one of my teachers told me that. They said, Mark, that's not a good question. I asked them something that was big. I said something like, how can I be a good drummer? And he said this. He told me the same thing I'm going to tell you. Listen, Saad, listen. If someone wrote a book about your question, then your question is not a good question. If someone wrote a book about it, then it's not a good question. How to speak good English? Do you know how many books have been written about how to speak good English? Why? Because it will take me right now, Saad. I am writing my own book about how to speak good English. Okay? I'm writing my own book. I would have to explain my entire book to you. Saad, here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, so pay attention. I have been on Hello Talk for more than 11 years, almost 12 years. I have about 82,000 followers here. I have about 16 years of experience teaching English. I'm one of the top recommended teachers on this platform. I have taught here on Hello Talk more than 2,000 hours. I'm not angry. I'm trying to tell you that what you need to do is watch and listen. You need to watch and listen. And if you watch and if you listen and if you have patience, then you will hear a lot of good advice about how to speak good English from me. You can also go to my YouTube channel right here. Thousands of questions are answered on my YouTube channel if you have patience to listen. No, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. Believe me, if I'm angry, you'll know. But I don't have patience for people who are impatient. Okay? I don't have patience for people who are impatient. You tell me you want to speak good English. If that's true, then go do the work. Lots of people can talk. Let me teach you a good English phrase. Everybody, pay attention. This is a good English idiom. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, Saad. You say you want to learn good English, but what are you doing? Anyone can say it. Anyone can say it, okay? All right. Now, I am finished. Saad, I have given you enough of my time. Now I must give others my time because that's how a classroom works. Okay? Now, if you want to, you can go listen here or you can go watch my videos and find your answers there. Okay? All right. Now, let me get back to the other questions. Let's see. And in life, if people are ignoring you, sometimes you should find out why. And sometimes, instead of looking outside to find out why people are ignoring you, you should look in the mirror. Okay? Hello, Lan. What's good English? Indeed. What is good English? Yeah. Okay, George says, I'm practicing the dictation in English, but some words are easily forgotten. George, when you say dictation, dictation means listening and then writing it down. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, Saad, goodbye. Goodbye, Saad. No, I'm not going to listen to you because you're not listening to me. So goodbye. Goodbye. No, goodbye. You're done. You're done. Why are people like that? Why? That was not just me. He was rude. It's so weird when people are like that. I don't understand. Yeah, I'm thinking he must be just a kid. He must be 10. But it's hard because I don't know. How do I know if he's 10? You know, unfortunately, there are some people who are 30 who act 10. Anyway. Can you send me your house address? What is that? What is that? Why does he want my address? What is this? Okay, Renato wants to know, can I explain the difference between overloaded, overwhelmed, and overwhelming? Okay, so overwhelmed and overwhelming are the same thing in different forms, right? I feel overwhelmed, it is overwhelming. That's like bored and boring. Okay, overwhelmed and overwhelming. They're the same word in different forms, right? I feel bored, it is boring. I feel overwhelmed, it is overwhelming. Okay? Overloaded is a form of being overwhelmed, right? Overloaded is a word that a load means a heavy thing you're carrying, right? So overloaded is usually a term we use specifically when we're talking about some kind of let me think of the right words to describe it. You're thinking about something that you have a lot of, right? So I'm overloaded with work. I'm overloaded with homework. I'm overloaded with um, things to do. I'm overloaded with. It could be literal, like maybe you're driving a truck and you're carrying a lot, and you're carrying too much in the truck. You could say the truck is overloaded. That would be a literal translate or literal definition. Okay, so overwhelmed and overwhelming usually is used for feelings. Okay, feelings is overwhelming, right? Overwhelmed sometimes can be for tangible things. I'm overwhelmed. Uh, no, I think I'm going to change my mind on that. I'm going to say that overwhelmed and overwhelming is for feelings, and overloaded is for things in general. Okay, real things, tangible things. Okay? Okay. Anyway. Do I believe that mirror talking techniques are effective for improving English speaking skills? And the audio is okay now. Yeah, thank you, Miguel. And hello, Mohammed in YouTube. Let's see. Do I believe mirror talking techniques are effective for improving English speaking skills? If you mean define mirror talking techniques, Ravi. Do you mean shadowing someone else, or do you mean looking at yourself in the mirror? Both are effective, but in different ways. So shadowing is the act of finding someone that you admire, in what they do is great, and you want to do it like them. So you watch them and you study what they do. That's shadowing. Mirror talking techniques would be where you're looking at a mirror and you're talking and you're looking at your mouth to see how you move your mouth to see if you need to change your movements. That is also useful, but they're different things. Okay? Mirror talking techniques would be good to see what you look like and what your mouth looks like, because sometimes when you can see yourself, you can adjust your movements more. So if I tell you you need to make your mouth bigger when you speak English, okay, that's good, but it's better if you can see yourself in the mirror than you can see if your mouth is bigger or not. Okay? 你要知道如果我会说中文吗？为什么你要知道这个？ What is more common, turning off the light or lamp? Wait, what? What's the most? I think what you're asking is what's the most common way to say? We say turn off the lights. Okay, the lamp. We might use lamp. It's kind of an older word, but we still use it occasionally. Okay, a desk lamp. Okay, I have a desk lamp right now on my table. Okay, you could say light. Turn out the light. Turn off. So I think off and out. Turn off would be the most common. Turn out is also sometimes used. Okay. Is it overloaded with? Always with? No, it could be overloaded from. Overloaded from, overloaded with, overloaded by. Possibly in, maybe in a few rare occasions, overloaded in something, maybe. Maybe. I could think of a couple situations that might work. Okay, but most of the time, yeah. Overloaded with, overloaded by, overloaded from. Okay? And the best way to learn English is every way that you can learn English. I know that's not the answer you want, but that's the answer you should get. Okay? Chuntian, yeah, overwhelmed means I have strong feelings about something, right? So I'm overwhelmed. For example, maybe you get a new promotion at work, and everybody throws you a big party, and you didn't. It's a surprise party. You didn't know, and you come to the party, and everybody's so happy, and you're surprised, so you feel overwhelmed with emotions of joy. Okay, or you could maybe have a bad week where your dog dies and your father dies and your boyfriend breaks up with you. That could be you're overwhelmed with bad feelings, right? You're overwhelmed with sadness. You're overwhelmed with depression. You're overwhelmed in some kind of a sad way, right? So overwhelmed means feeling some kind of a feeling too much, but it can be a good feeling. You could be overwhelmed with joy, okay? Can you use timber, wood, and lumber interchangeably? Wood is the most common used word. We use the word wood for most things. This table is made of wood. I wouldn't say this table is made of lumber or timber. Timber is the word that is used for when it's still in the forest. That's timber. Okay, so before you cut it down. That's the word that they say when they cut down the tree. When they chop the tree down and it starts falling, they yell, "Timber!" which means get out of the way. It's going to fall, right? So, timber is the word you use when it's in the forest and you're about to cut it down. This is some good timber, right? It's like good wood for cutting, right? Wood is a general term for anything made from wood. Lumber is the word we use for building materials that are made of wood. So when you go to a lumber store, for example, that's where you go to get all the wood you need to build your house. Okay, is a lumber store. Okay, so timber is in the forest. Wood, a general term for anything made from wood, and lumber would be the term used for building materials made from wood. Is lumber, our lumber. Okay. Can I share something about the word clothes? Sure. Jazzy, people worry about the word clothes too much. Okay? Properly said, the word clothes has this THES at the end. Clothes. But that's really hard, to be honest, and completely unnecessary. Because most of the time when you say this word, if you say it quickly, there is no time to hear the THES. So the 98% of the population, when they say this word, they say it like it sounds exactly like the word close the door. Right? So I need to wash my clothes today. Did you hear my THES in that? No, you didn't. It sounded exactly like close the door. Okay? I'm going to go to the store and buy some new clothes. It's there, but it's so fast. So what I would tell you is, when you say the word clothes, don't even worry about the THES at the end. Just say the word close as in close the door. CLOSE, close the door. Right? Say it that way, and then everyone will understand the context, and no one will question your pronunciation. The only time you need to worry about the THES is if you're speaking slowly. Clothes. Okay? Is it better to practice with someone or in front of a mirror? Yeah, okay, all of those things are good in different ways. Okay? What do I think about speech translation on Google Meet? I have not used Google Meet that much. It's not one I've used very much, so I can't tell you. Um, but they all have speech translation now for the most part. Do I think is it a good tool or will it make us lazy? I think it'll do both. I think some people it will make them more lazy. I think some people it will be a tool. I think some people it will encourage them to learn more. So there will be some people who definitely will use it in a way that makes them more lazy. But I think it will also encourage some others to feel like that language is not a barrier anymore to communication. So it has good and bad to it. Ken says, I can listen to you clearly, but the other accents I can't listen to clearly. How can I overcome this problem? Thanks. Ken, you can't completely overcome this problem. Just like when I listen to Chinese. There are some people who speak Chinese and I understand every word they say. But there are some people that I don't. You know, maybe their accent is weird, maybe their pronunciation, or I mean their speed. Maybe they speak too fast. They might use words that I'm not familiar with, or slang or local terms that I'm not familiar with. So do I worry about it? No, I don't. I don't worry about it at all because I understand most people. Okay? Now, you understand me because it's my job. Okay? I am a teacher. You're as a teacher, it's your duty, a language teacher especially, it's your duty to have care about your language. Okay? So that's what I do. What's the difference between cloth and clothing? Cloth is the material, Jazzy. Cloth is 等我一下，我看一下。Cloth 就是那个布 or 织物 but clothing 就是衣服 right 那个衣服。Have I tried teaching young children? Yes, I have taught kindergarten, elementary school, junior high, high school, college, and adults. I have a problem with giving an answer to a general question and expanding my answer. What should I do? Mojtaba, that's a good question. This is the process of paraphrasing, and yeah, expounding. To expound means to say more about something. I think this is a good exercise for ChatGPT or some AI. Let's see. Let me think about my answer for just a moment. So, I think that you can do a couple of things. One, I think you should practice paraphrasing more, right? So, you can practice paraphrasing by just choosing a word or a phrase or a sentence to try to rephrase, right? So, instead of saying cold, a single word, cold, is there another word can you use besides cold, right? Freezing, right? Bitter, right? Chilly, right? Cool. Those are all words that could mean cold, right? That's one kind of paraphrasing. Then I could say it's really cold outside. That's a sentence. Can you paraphrase that sentence? Today it's chilly outside. Today the weather is cold, right? That's a paraphrasing of what I just said, okay? So I think you need to practice paraphrasing, okay? And then I think to expand on things, you need to practice feeling comfortable imagining the language, right? So it might be that the problem is that you're comfortable imagining in your language, but you're not comfortable imagining in English. And if you can't imagine in English, then it's hard to expand or expound on things. right? You need your imagination to take you to the next place, right? Then you can explain it to them, okay? So this could be a situation where you need to practice working on your thinking in English more and using your imagination in English more, okay? Chen Tian says, bottoms up. Is there a verb in this sentence? I know it can be used as a verb totally. So bottoms up, just yeah, ganbei. It means drink the whole thing. So just like ganbei means dry the cup, right? Ganbei, dry the cup. Bottoms up means take the bottom and put it up, right? So there is no verb in bottoms up. It's a, what would that be? Wait a minute, let me think. It's a command, so it's a directive statement. So in this case, it doesn't need a verb. Yeah. It's just describing what you should do. Put the bottom of the cup up, bottoms up. Okay? Just like ganbei, dry the cup. You know, gan's not. That's in this case. It's it wouldn't be a verb, would it? It would be an adjective, or would it be a verb in Chinese? I don't know. Even in your own language. Oh, Mojtaba. Ooh, that's a little harder. I don't know if there's a real good answer for that, Mojtaba, other than just you need more practice with just trying to teach and explain things. I think you should find some people and try to teach them something. Teaching is a really great way to learn how to practice how to explain things, and when you explain, you expand and expound, right? Every teacher needs to learn how to explain things more, right? So perhaps you should practice teaching someone something that you know, okay? Does the lack of singing in the language affect your ability or challenge or strength or constraints over that language? Nobody cares if you can sing a language. That has nothing to do with learning a language. That's completely singing is a cultural affectation of language, but it's not an integral part of language unto itself. Okay, so what I would say is, if you can sing, great, but that doesn't mean your language is better. Okay? How can we use the, Lena? Lena, 如果就是一个特别的东西，你需要说 the。如果就是普通的东西，你可以说 a 还是 an。Okay? So, if it's special, this is one thing, then you say the book. Give me the book. Give me the phone. 这是一个特别的, right? That you're talking about one thing. That's the. Okay? I'm going to the pool means there must be one pool near your house. That's where you're going to. I'm going to the store. That means a store that everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay? If you say a store or an umbrella. An umbrella means any umbrella. I don't care what umbrella. It doesn't have to be mine. It could just be somebody's umbrella. I need an umbrella. Okay? If I say give me the umbrella, I mean that one. 这个. Okay? Okay, so a and an 就是都可以的. Okay? 都可以随便. 我要一个可是我不知道都可以给我一个. Okay? But if you say the, 就是特别的一个, okay? That's some one special one, all right? Do you understand? I hope. Thank you, Liz. Good to see you. You're afraid to make mistakes. Okay, well, stop. Mistakes are part of learning. If you're afraid to make mistakes, you're afraid to make progress. If you're afraid to make mistakes, you're afraid of what people think of you. Be stronger than that. In the world, people need to be stronger. If everybody is worried about what everyone thinks, then no one will ever do the right thing. Sometimes in life, something happens and someone needs to step up and say, this is not right. But if everybody's afraid to make a mistake, then no one will ever speak. Mistakes are important. Mistakes are great. Mistakes are wonderful. Mistakes are an opportunity to learn. If you are afraid to make mistakes, then you are afraid to learn. Okay? Voice and boys sound the same to me. Right. So, Eric, let me try to help you with that. Voice. When you say the word, the letter V, you have to take the bottom lip and put it below the top teeth just a little bit, like this. Right? So my teeth are just a little bit on top of my bottom lip, and then I'm making that sound. And what I want you to do is I want you to practice all the V words, but I want you to make the V sound really long, right? So say the word voice. Say very. That's the difference, because B cannot be made long. B is only short. Buh, buh, buh. Look at my lips. Both lips curl in and then pop out. Buh, buh, boy, boy. Okay? So V, you can extend the sound and make it very. Voice. But the letter B, you cannot make it longer. You can only say it short. Okay? So that's the big difference. But it doesn't seem difficult, is it so? I don't know what you mean, Sade. Is singing difficult? Singing is definitely difficult. Or I should say, anything can be done, not anything can be done well. So anyone can sing, not everyone can sing well. Dry is a verb in that case. Okay, all right. So, but in English, when you describe bottoms up, you're describing it like it's an action that you're supposed to do. Put the bottom of the cup up. Okay? What's the difference between may and can? Politeness. Okay? Manners is the difference. If I say, can I go to the bathroom? Right? If you're my student and you come to my table and you say, can I go to the bathroom? I might look at you and say, I don't know, can you? Because can implies an ability. So if you ask, can I go to the bathroom? What you're really asking is, do I have an ability to urinate? Right? What you want to ask is, may I have permission to go to the bathroom? Or can I have permission to go to the bathroom? Right? So may I is the more polite form of can I. Can I sometimes could be used not to describe permission, but to describe ability. Okay? Okay, it's a verb, right. Okay, yeah. How can beginners improve their English? Do they memorize words first? Chen. Um, yes, a little bit. You know, you need to learn the alphabet, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? Then you need to learn a few basic words, right? But start with simple things, Chen, right? So, um, I am happy. I am sad. I am tired. I am hungry. It's easy. Start with simple things like that. I like this, I don't like that. I want this, I don't want that. I need this, I don't need that. Okay? Jing, you want to know how to pronounce the word done? Done, D-O-N-E, is pronounced done, like D-U-N, done. Okay? The difference between can and could. I've done this one so many times. One moment. Let's see. Let me find my notes for this. So can and could are they're both modal verbs. They're both used to express ability or possibility. But can indicates the present ability or permission, right? You can go to the bathroom. I can ride my bicycle. Okay, but could implies the past tense of can. So it could be used for hypothetical situations, right? We could go to the park this weekend. If you study, you could get a good job. Okay, so potential hypothetical future situations. Okay, and could can also be used for polite situations as well. Could you pass the butter, please? Could you pass the milk? Is more polite than can you. Okay? Oh, that's a hard one. What's the difference between freedom and liberty? Sometimes nothing. Uh, that's a philosophical question, YJ. Um, so they do have nuances. There are some differences. They are used interchangeably sometimes. But liberty is usually talking about um, your ability to do things without restrictions, right? Or constraints, right? So, like political or legal things, those are civil liberties, right? Civil liberties means the ability to do things without being restricted by the government. That's a civil liberty, okay? Freedom is a more general term, and freedom is like the general form of like I have the freedom to speak, I have the freedom to act, I have the freedom to think. Um, so they both describe an ability to do things without restraint, but liberty is usually used in a more specific context of government or politics. And freedom could be used in that sense, but it also could be used uh, in a more general sense, like when you graduate from high school, kids feel freedom, right? You know, when you get out of prison, you have freedom. I have freedom. I'm not in prison anymore, right? So freedom can mean a bit more general, right? But liberty, when you are in prison, you don't have all of your liberties. Your liberties have been taken away because you broke the law. Okay? So you don't have your freedoms, but you also don't have your liberties. All right? How to be articulate. um, Being articulate is usually not about a great ability in language. It's more about a great ability in um, mind, in the ability to think well, in the ability to logically rationalize things and describe things and explain things well, is the ability to be articulate, right? So this is something that being articulate is something that you gain over a great deal of time and experience, but it's not something that you can specifically practice okay, here's what I'll tell you. If you want to practice being articulate, then practice paraphrasing. Right? So find a sentence and then find 100 ways to say that same sentence. Because being articulate is about knowing what your linguistic options are and then choosing the ones you feel sound the best. Okay? But you have to have choices first. Okay? How to improve your speaking skills? When you start speaking, you freeze. Well, then that's not a speaking problem. That's a confidence problem. You need to relax. That's really, honestly, your only problem. You just need to relax. And remember that it's just words. And remember that the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. So if you want to be a master, then you better fail more. Did you hear me? Should you focus on grammar for beginners? Not particularly, no. You need a little bit of grammar, basic sentence structure, but you don't need a lot. Okay? Can I elaborate about when to use used to? Used to is used in two different ways. One is to describe something that you feel comfortable with. So I'm used to teaching. I'm used to talking in public. I'm used to speaking to people. I'm comfortable with it. Used to can also be used to describe something that you did in the past but you don't do anymore. We used to go to the store every weekend. We used to go to the beach every summer. That means in the past you previously did but you don't anymore. Okay, we used to. So used to has a couple of different ways to use it. One is to talk about something that you're comfortable with. I just learned to ride a bicycle, so I'm not used to it yet. It means I'm not comfortable yet. Okay? Or I just started my new job and I need to get used to their new software. That means I need to get comfortable with their new software. But then the other way is we used to eat dinner as a family every night. We used to means previously, but we don't anymore. Chen, I do streams. I try to be here 5 days a week. I am here as often as I can be. That's all I can tell you. Follow me if you're interested and you'll get notifications, okay? Yeah, and you're right. Could can also be used in the subjunctive. That's right. Give examples of tuning. Tuning what? My drums? Are you serious? What's the difference between meticulous and scrupulous? Let me think about that. I think sometimes those would be synonyms. I think occasionally you could use them interchangeably. Scrupulous, I think, implies more about morality. To have scruples means to have morals, right? So to be scrupulous sometimes is more to be morally right rather than careful about what you do, right? Occasionally, scrupulous is used in the same way as meticulous, meaning to be very careful about everything you do to make no mistakes, right? You're meticulous in what you do. Okay, but scrupulous, I believe, is more involved with morality. Okay? Sometimes my mind doubts whether my sentence is correct or not. So what? What's the worst thing that can happen if you say the incorrect sentence? Are you going to die? Is anyone else going to die? Is the world going to end? No. Why are you so afraid to say a few words wrong? It is normal to be afraid of bears. It is normal to be afraid of lions or tigers or sharks. It's normal to be afraid of monsters or ghosts. It's not normal to be afraid of words. Relax. Make a mistake. Who cares? And guess what? Let me tell you another phrase that I really love. Let me ask you a question. Listen to me. How many of you want to be great at English? How many want to be great at English? Do you want to be great? Okay, if you want to be great, then let me tell you something important. To be great, there's a cost. Okay? There's a cost for the ticket of greatness. Do you know what that cost is? The cost of the ticket of greatness is embarrassment. No one has ever become great without being embarrassed. Everyone that you've ever known who has ever become great at anything has embarrassed themselves along the way to becoming great. So if you want to be great, then you better be willing to be embarrassed. Okay? And that's true for anything in life. If you want to be great, embarrassment is the ticket of greatness. You must pay that cost. Dima, thank you for saying that, Dima. Please, Dima, I'm begging you, I'm going to give your contact to the HelloTalk person and send me a message. I need to give your contact because I've told them about this problem, but they need to see somebody who is having that problem, their account, so they can find out why. So please, Dima, do me a favor, send me a message so that I can send them your contact so they can talk to you or not talk to you. They might even not need to talk to you. I think they just need to see your account to find out why you're getting the notifications late. So please make sure you send me a message so I can send them your contact, okay? How can you learn vocabulary? Read books. That's a great way to learn vocabulary. Use a thesaurus. That's a great way to learn vocabulary. Learn vocabulary by topic, right? Choose a topic. Sports. Learn the words about sports. Clothes. Learn the words about clothes. Food. Learn the words about food. Computers. Learn the words about that. Right? There are many ways to learn vocabulary. Okay? Okay, I already covered how to use used to. If you didn't hear it, I'm sorry, but I've already covered that. Sarika says, it's embarrassing when we speak English wrong in front of fluent people. Well, guess what, Sarika? Here's the funny thing. Fluent people, native speakers, they will not make fun of you for your English. It's only non-natives that will. Okay? Or, I should say, if you meet a native speaker who makes fun of you, I don't think you should worry about them at all for a few reasons. The most important one is most American native speakers of English don't know another language. So if they only know one, why are you worried about it? You know two. You know more than they do. Okay? So don't worry about what they think. Okay? It happens with YouTube, but with Todd's live streams. Okay, Carolina also has this problem. Um, yeah, if anybody has a problem, then with getting notifications, please send me a message. If you are not getting the notifications on time or late or not at all, please send me a message so that I can tell the Hello Talk people. Okay, I want to fix that problem, but I can't fix it unless you tell me who's having that problem. You're not talking about natives, you're talking about who are fluent in English. Sarika, then here's what I want you to know. In life, there will always be people who will make fun of you when you're trying to be better. That's part of the process. It's part of life. Okay, Sarika? So, you don't need to learn how to do something differently. What you need to do is learn how to ignore them. You need to learn how to not care about what they think. You should care about what you think more. Okay? How to manage freezing on talk. You guys just need more practice. It's really that simple. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, it's because you didn't do it enough. It's really that simple. Okay? And yes, the people who make fun of you aren't your people. Okay? Definitely. Agree with that. Okay, listen, guys, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. I'm 45 minutes over my time. I was only supposed to do 1 hour today. And I need to get to my book and doing a bunch of other things. So, before I go, here is my YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel and find thousands of hours of videos of me teaching, right? So if you want to know about English, go watch some of my videos and leave a comment maybe. And here is my website. You can go to my website. If you want private lessons, go to my website. You can buy private lessons from me. Or you can study English on my website as well. I have lots of free resources to study English there on my website. Okay? So I need to go, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Steph. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Thank you over in my YouTube there, Miguel and Flavia, Maria and Mohammed. Thank you. So, guys, I will see you guys. I don't know if I have time to do a voice room tonight. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if not, then I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do one tomorrow for sure. I'll do a live stream tomorrow, okay? And please, remember, if you want me to be here, then you have to do something to support me. You cannot expect me to be here if you're not doing anything. Okay? I don't get paid. So, if you want me to be here, then you better figure out what you need to do to support me. You better share, you better tell Hello Talk, you better, do whatever you can do, all right? That's how this works. Okay, guys.